Hello, hello. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take some time to share company with a wonderful group of people that would be you. And we take a look at headlines from our city, from our state, from our country. We take a look at your comments, your whereabouts, your questions, your ideas, your suggestions, everything we can get our hands on so that we can combine all this information and have an amazing life living here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Or maybe you don't live here, but you have a special place in your heart for Puerto Vallarta. Maybe you're counting down days to come to Puerto Vallarta to enjoy some time off. Maybe you are counting down days to come and retire in Puerto Vallarta. Regardless, this is a place where I hope you will find camaraderie, company, and good connections. That's what we strive for when we get together here live on Facebook. And it is Monday. I believe it's the last day of the month. Yes, tomorrow is March 1st. And we have all kinds of fun things to share with you today. Some important news posts, but mostly recreational stuff. It's amazing to see how a lot of events and activities are starting to come back to our city and to Guadalajara. Excuses and good reasons to be outside, of course, as long as we're following the guidelines. But it's nice to see that a lot of things are coming back and new things are coming up. What do I mean? Well, we'll have to take a look at some of the headlines that we prepare for you today, but not before giving you a nice welcome, particularly if you are new to the broadcast. Don't hesitate to let us know by writing the word new in your comment, and that way we'll give you a nice welcome. And if you're watching on YouTube later on in the day, we love you too. We are not live on YouTube, but we appreciate the fact that you subscribe. And we appreciate the fact that you give us thumbs up so that we can continue doing what we do. So, as always, your comments are valuable. And if they're truly important, please add a capital letter Q to them. And we will take a look at them during the chit-chat section at the end of the broadcast. But first, let's take a look at let me turn the weather on now and not later, so that I can remember to cue it when I'm supposed to. Oh, that's a Ukraine thing. Okay, we'll get to the weather when it's time to get to the weather. But first, let us take a look at some of the news. Okay, as we mentioned last week, Seapal has finished doing temporary connections at Santa Barbara Street to bring back water pressure to residents in Amapas and Conchas Chinas. And I spotted this Facebook post that gives us more context as to what is going on. This is Santa Barbara Street. As you can see, that's where the landslide took place. Now it's all nicely covered in case it continues to rain. And of course, there was a gorgeous swimming pool right here that this house used to have, that used to come above the street or slightly over it. Clearly, that pool has been demolished. And this blue pipe that you see here, that is the temporary fix that CEPAL has put together in order to ensure that residents in Conchas Chinas and Amapas can have water. And that's what the whole thing looks like from, a pigeon view or a drone view. It is quite dramatic when you look at it. And again, we don't have any specific information as to how or when the street will be rebuilt. I am sure that the government must be having a field day dealing with the construction company that was responsible for this misadventure. And that's what we have about that. I also want to let you know that 2 days ago, yesterday, a middle-aged man was hospitalized in Mexico City's Institute of Respiratory Diseases, only to become the first COVID patient detected in Mexico. That was 2 years ago yesterday. 2 weeks after that fact, the first COVID death was registered at the same hospital. And 2 years later, we're still living through the pandemic with over 5.5 confirmed cases in Mexico, 5.5 million, 318,000 deaths, and 4,764,651 people that have recovered. And of course, this whole exercise has resulted in the most intense learning experience for both medical professionals and the general public we could have not expected. For me, personally, the most important change in my life as a result of the pandemic was jumping off a cliff and launching Coffee and Headlines on March 29 of 2020. Yes, we're coming up on our second year anniversary in a month. And I have a question for you. What has been your most important learning experience during the past 2 years? Feel free to share your comment and we'll take a look at those in a second. I can only say that, there's been ups and downs in my life. There's been a lot of fear and uncertainty, but there's been a lot of hope and there's been a lot of love, largely thanks to you in helping us build this wonderful community that we get to enjoy on a regular basis. Moving right along, I want to let you know that the nice people at the city's Department of Culture are reporting a series of robberies taking place at the Isla Rio Cuales Institute of Culture. And as a result of that, they have requested additional security in the area, particularly at night. So if you find yourselves walking along the island in the evening, maybe consider an alternate route, particularly if you are walking by yourselves. And here's a first for Mexico. For the first time, this happened in Mexico in 2020, 2 years ago, but it is important to note, the World Tourism Organization has confirmed or has announced that in 2020, 24,284,000 international tourists made our country become the third most visited country in the world, right under France and Italy. Let us hope that as COVID continues to stabilize, we can maintain such a position moving forward. And these are some of the formal news that we have to share with you today. Let us turn over to our weather, and then we'll continue with some really fun headlines that we prepared for you. Snarky Weather says, I'm supposed to be the one who starts the apocalypse, so I am going to be so pissed if Vladimir Putin getting spanked in Ukraine is what starts a nuclear war. Oh dear, let us hope we don't go there. For starters, our weather temperature right now is 25 degrees, feels like 26. It's very low humidity, 37%. What a beautiful opportunity to be out and about. And for Fahrenheit holdouts, we have 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Our weather forecast as we begin our week says that we're going to have a clear day with high temperature 29, low temperature 17. Tuesday, we're going to have a clear day as well. That will be tomorrow with a high temperature of 28, low temperature of 18. And on Wednesday, it'll be again a clear day with a high temperature of 30, and a low temperature of 18. So great weather to enjoy our city this time around. And enjoy our city is part of what I did this weekend. I had the chance to get together with my friend Matthew from college, Matthew Radish, who is visiting with his family in Nuevo Vallarta, Nuevo Nayarit, whatever it's called now. And we spent the Saturday afternoon and evening together. I walked around the Malecón, and I took a second to take a look at some of the tchotchkes or chingaderas that they're selling right next to City Hall. You may recall that there are some booths, temporary stands that have been put there in a so-called indigenous expo. We know that many formal vendors have complained about these temporary installations because it is unfair competition. So I was curious to see exactly what they were selling, and just as I expected, I found that a lot of the stuff that is being sold in these temporary booths is no different than some of the tchotchkes and chingaderas that you can find at the municipal market, at the Quale market. So it's nice to see that there are vendors out and about, but trust me, it's not like you're going to find a lot of fabulous and innovative and unique indigenous products as you walk around. So let's just take a look. Oh, check out the lady in black. She, I said, excuse me, and she made such a funny face when I tried to walk by. She's like, "Ugh." Look at her. Anyhow. Here we are. Nothing special. Lots of music, of course. Now, these two stands are always there, so they almost don't count, and I don't know why they have that privileged position there. And then we walk back through the final aisle. More chingaderas. Ah, interesting. One of the vendors just said, "Esta te la dejo en 500, which means this I will sell to you for 500. So bargaining or regatear is allowed and encouraged in these types of places. Christy says, not a lot of mask wearing. Yeah, masks seem to be a thing of the past among a lot of people. I myself was happy to wear my mask, or as happy as one gets.
Con permiso.
Quítate. Escúchala. Con permiso means excuse me, in case you guys are hearing, a round man with a camera standing behind you wanting to get by. Con permiso is excuse me. Crochet says, looks like a beautiful day in Puerto Vallarta. It was a glorious day. And there's, of course, our Main Plaza and the church behind it. So, yes, it is beautiful to walk around town this time of year. Always remember to wear your face mask, of course. And again, if you're thinking that going to these little expos, you're going to find new and exciting and different things, well, certainly not at this one, that's for sure. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we have a very high volume level. Let me turn it down a little bit. That's much better. Okay, now it's time to get lit. We pre-announced that we were going to talk about getting lit, and we're going to get lit because a wine festival called Vinoma Fest has just been announced to take place in town from March 17th to March 20th at Puerto Mágico. We don't have a lot of details about who's going to be there and what's going to happen, but we will leave you with the festival's Facebook page so you can check it out on your own. We will gladly add it to the show notes this right after the broadcast. And then, of course, we read Governor Alfaro. We always want to know what our governor is up to, and we're going to get a little bit more lit. And this time, I mean it literally. Governor Alfaro has announced that the Guadalajara Light Festival, which was launched in 2017, is back this coming weekend from March 2nd to the 5th. This is a beautiful event where light installations take center stage, along with music performances and other attractions. There's a beautiful website that shows the scope of the event, which takes place in Guadalajara's beautiful historic downtown area. And checking the program and the layout, we get to see how this is downtown Guadalajara. There's the cathedral, and it's going to take place along all this beautiful corridor that ends up at the Cabañas Institute. So if you're going to be in Guadalajara or are planning to go to Guadalajara this coming weekend, don't miss the opportunity to see this huge event, which is all outdoors. And I'm sure, well, the governor has announced that it is happening with all the precautions and all the restrictions that are in place as far as COVID is concerned. And then I want to let you know a little bit more about what Governor Alfaro announced over the weekend. So here I am sitting in my humble abode thinking good thoughts about myself because I'm having fun with my crochet hooks. And what do you know? Governor Alfaro has announced that the largest crochet pavilion with over 8,000 square meters is the largest pavilion in the world, I mean to say, is located in Jalisco. I mean, check out this photograph. This is just tons and tons and tons of crocheted chingaderas, stars, that are tied together to form this huge outdoor pavilion. That would be me, or not me. That will be me in about 20 more years. But no, there's another photo here that I want to show you. Where is it? This one. Check this out. Isn't that amazing? Look at how much area is covered by yarn and more yarn and more yarn. There are many more photos shown here of the people that decided to put this together. We don't know how long it took them. All we know is there is this tiny little town called Etzatlan that we can go and visit and check out this amazing, amazing installation. Now, where is this located? Well, I went looking for the map because I wanted to know where it was. And there is Guadalajara. There is the toll road. There is the mountain road. And right in the middle of the two of them is the little town of Etzatlan. Now, we have no idea how long this is going to be in place, but it is certainly something that yours truly would like to see. And of course, it wouldn't be Coffee and Headlines without Raymond throwing a lovely pun at us saying, that looks like a close-knit community. Seriously, Raymond, you never fail, and we love you for that. Let me take a quick look at your comments now, and I'll leave the last headline for the end of the broadcast because it's thought-provoking. But now, let's see what you are all up to. Well, Albert asks what new facts I will learn today. Well, I certainly hope we all learned a little bit from all these events and places to visit. I would love to go to that little town. My goodness, that was just beautiful. Good morning from sunny Phoenix. That's nice to read. Thank you very much, Kelly. Deborah, you made me smile earlier when you said, I set my alarm so as to not miss you. I love it. Oh, speaking of alarms, Sunday I gave myself, or my body gave me the gift of sleeping in until 10:45 a.m. yesterday. I would have missed our broadcast if we were still broadcasting on Sundays, but I was so happy to have a late morning. It was great. Let's see what else we have. Linda reports from 2 wonderful shows at the Palm. That's nice to hear. A counter. Kelly says counting down to March 12th. Wonderful. Let's see what else we have. Matthew is enjoying Bougainvilleas. I love it. It's great to see you, Mateo. New! Todd is new. Welcome, Todd. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. My wife and I have been in PV a week. We love it here. That is wonderful. I hope you stay well connected, and I hope you will make great connections with our city and our friends. There's a question. I live within walking distance from the International Convention Center. What events were held there before the pandemic? Good question, Jonathan. The convention center is big on convention tourism. It is not used as frequently for concerts or expos, but the big bread and butter of the convention center has been conventions. Nothing that the general public would be interested in, again, with very few exceptions. Puerto Vallarta just doesn't command large concerts, at least not right now, but that could change in the future. Hopefully that will. But that's primarily what you can expect to find there. Then we get into your comments about the pandemic. Oh, hold on. Thank you. That was good. John says, over the past 2 years, I've learned to worry about the things I can change and not worry about things I can't change. Amen. That has been a big mantra here at Coffee and Headlines. Thank you for sharing that. Harold says, living in Mexico has been a huge adventure. COVID-induced switch to working from home has been a life changer, says Meggie, as in Peggy. I finally have time to eat enough, sleep enough, and I'm no longer constantly running myself into the ground. That sounds healthy and wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing. Let's see. Matthew questions the media, saying that Horacio Franco and his husband were diagnosed with COVID when they returned from giving concerts in New York. Well, we're not going to get into a debate here, but that's okay. I just share the news that I read. I don't make them up. Last 2 years have been very eventful personally for Alan. He's become snarkier in a good way. I love your snarky comments, Alan. But now he's retired. Now, you lost your mom. Saw one daughter get married, another get engaged. That's a lot of changes. But here you are joining us at Coffee and Headlines, sharing your good sense of humor, and I personally appreciate that very much. Albert says, over the last 2 years, I've learned both how amazing people can be in a time of extreme stress and what a selfish asshole they can be. Well, yeah, I think the pandemic brings out the best and the worst of us, and that gives us better choices as to how we want to be or how we want to surround ourselves with people. Marie says, I had no idea there were so many colonias in PV. There's over 200 of them or more. This group has kept me connected to PV while we waited to travel again. Your wealth of non-biased information and sarcastic humor is the sunshine of my day. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And of course, being introduced to people like Amy and Fernando and everybody you brought to the show. Oh, that is such a nice comment. Thank you very much, Marie. You make my day. Oh, and speaking of that, I did run into a bunch of people who took some time to stop and say hello to me and thank me for what we do here. And when I say we, I do mean we, because you are as much a catalyst of this wonderful community as I am. I always love running into people out and about who are part of our community. Let's see what else we have. Karen also mentions Amy and Fernando's live Friday night concerts brought her joy. Thank you, Paco, for keeping me sane. Well, thank you, Karen, for keeping me sane. Todd asks, what day is this market? I don't know exactly what market you're referring to. Maybe that was not a comment from me. If it had a Q, then well, it doesn't have a Q, but I don't know. I don't know which market we're talking about. But it could be referring to the one on at City Hall. Well, they seem to be there for a little while, and then they'll take it away, and then they'll bring it back. But if you're referring to another market, Todd, please ask with a Q, and I'll be happy to answer that. Oh no! Oh yes, Susan went to the Sinfonion in Guadalajara. That's the concert that I wanted to go see. That was one of my bucket list concerts, because they did what was it? Mother Goose Suite? Yes, they did Ravel's Mother Goose Suite, which I've never seen live. I'm so very glad you went, Susan, and I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. There'll be other concerts, and I will be there hopefully sometime soon. Was the Crochet in Etzatlan? Yes, David, that's where the Crochet was. And, I can't wait. I have to find a way to get there just to see it. And what a great way to promote a little town. I mean, that town has got to be teeny, teeny, teeny. And now they're going to get all this tourism, and they're going to get so much prosperity just from a community initiative. How wonderful is that? Let's see. That's what we have. That's what we have. I have one more headline, or one more link to share with you. Yesterday afternoon, I found myself watching a very well put together documentary series on Netflix about 9/11. And it breaks down all the events that preceded 9/11 and everything that happened afterwards, and the decision-making process that was undertaken by the United States government. And a very specific memory came to mind. I remember watching Saturday Night Live right after 9/11, and it was a challenging broadcast to watch, and it was certainly a challenging broadcast to put together. And two nights ago, Saturday Night Live did it again with a beautiful cold open featuring the Ukrainian chorus of New York. I will be so very happy to leave that along with the show notes today for you to enjoy this beautiful performance, and for us to give ourselves the time to meditate about what's going on in the world and talk about things that we cannot do much about, but it's still happening in our lives, for better or worse, one way or another. And this brings us to the end of our broadcast. I certainly hope you have a good beginning of the week. This is a great question. Jonathan asks, did AMLO visit the city over the weekend? My answer to you would be, if he did, I have not seen any headlines to that effect. But if he did, I am sure we will read about it hopefully by tomorrow. And I'll keep my eyes open for other headlines. This is what we could find for today. And we'll see what we can find for tomorrow. In the meantime, stay happy, stay sunny, enjoy the weather if you are here. And if you're not here, hopefully you have good weather wherever you are. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.